One of Marvel's most successful superheroes is Spider-Man, which led to creators to build a Spider-Verse to continue furnishing new stories. The Spider-Verse introduced fans to other versions of Spider-People like Miles Morales, Spider-Ham, Gwen Stacy, and many more. One such version is Miguel OHara, who will also appear in the new Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Miguel is from Earth 2099, which is Earth from the future, forming a technologically advanced yet dystopian society. While most of Peter Parker's and Miguel OHara's powers resemble each other, there are some intriguing powers that set these two apart. So let's take a look at these. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. Peter Parker is not an expert geneticist as Miguel OHara. There is no doubt that Peter Parker has the smarts. We have seen him in his invention lab time and again trying to devise a new gadget that will support his superhero stints. But Miguel OHara is a step ahead. Miguel's origin story introduces him as a genetic expert who works at Alchemax International. In fact, Miguel's Spider-Man makeover resulted from a genetic experiment. His senior, Tyler Stone, pressurized Miguel to develop genetics-based experiments where he fused genetic codes into the frameworks of human physiology. Miguel unwillingly tested this on a human who turned into a monstrous creature, but his body was unable to accept the transformation and the test subject died. Miguel was then tricked into drinking a hallucinogenic drug when he tried to quit. He tried finding ways to get rid of the drug in his body and decided to subject himself to the same genetic coding process. However, one of Miguel's seniors wanted to kill him and disrupted the process. Miguel lived through the experiment. Later, they bonded a spider's genes with Miguel's DNA, giving him superpowers. So unlike Peter Parker, who got his powers from a radioactive spider's bite, Miguel used his genetic prowess to give himself these powers. Can you imagine what Peter Parker could have done if he was an expert geneticist? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Peter Parker cannot fly around in his suit. Spider-Man 2099 suit needs and has a separate fan page. Originally, Miguel's Spider-Man suit was a masquerade outfit for the Day of the Dead. Miguel used his wits to remold his suit using the basic costume, combining it with unstable molecules which made it robust and durable. But more than that, his costume has a small cape like airfoil that is light-weighted but can also give him the airlift that he needs. This small cape was designed to look like a web and is fitted on his back. Miguel's suit releases a minimal number of particles with anti-gravity properties, enabling him to quickly glide between the grandeur of skyscrapers that exist in 2099. Later, Miguel added more features to his suit, giving it flight boosters and wings that supported gliding. On the other hand, Peter Parker, our friendly neighborhood hero, still believes in swinging from building to building. Although he is innovative, Peter is yet to design a suit that allows him flight or gliding powers. He shoots his robust webs to sway from one place to another and always arrives in time to save the day. But here is a fun fact for the fans. In Spider-Man 2099 Volume 3, Peter Parker runs Parker Industries and develops a suit for Miguel OHara, but Miguel refuses to accept the suit, claiming that he wants to retire from being Spider-Man. What would you prefer? A Spider-Man moving across using webs, or one with a suit that supports flight? Let us know in the comments. Meanwhile, let's take a look at Spider-Man 2099's vampirish abilities. Peter Parker lacks the talons and teeth that Spider-Man 2099 has. Spiders are famous for producing webs, but do you know what else spiders possess? They have fangs filled with venom, which they use when they feel threatened by another animal or being. It was one of the reasons why the radioactive spider bit Peter Parker, transferring the spider's energies to Peter. But in the case of Spider-Man 2099, his genetic modification not only furnished him with webbing abilities, but also gave him his vampirish canines filled with venom. And as gruesome as it may sound, Spider-Man 2099 is not afraid to bite. Yes, Miguel has used his fangs to induce venom into his enemies and paralyzed them for a few moments. Although the venom is non-toxic, it is still powerful, giving Miguel enough time to escape or incapacitate his opponents. Additionally, Miguel got retractable talons like the ones Black Panther's costume enables him to have. Only Miguel's claws come from inside his fingertips and toes, as opposed to being an extension of his costume. He also decided to use the unstable molecules in his costume so that his sharp talons wouldn't tear open the outfit. Miguel's talons cut like razors, tearing through metallic objects and flesh alike. We saw him discover his claws for the first time when he tried saving his superior Aaron Delgado from falling down a skyscraper. Unfortunately, Miguel unknowingly released his talons, slashing Aaron's arm, which led to his fall and eventual death. Peter Parker, however, lacks these talons and teeth, which his alternate reality version possesses. We think these abilities would have taken away from Peter's friendly persona, making him more threatening and menacing, which Miguel often is. Spider-Man 2099 has advanced AI guiding him. Besides being a genetics genius, Miguel is also equipped with computer proficiency. He has hacked into the systems of brilliant minds much like himself, including Iron Man and Dr. Doom. And just like Iron Man's AI Jarvis and Friday, Spider-Man 2099 has Lila, which stands for Lyrate Lifeform Approximation. With Spider-Man 2099 set in a technologically advanced world, Lila is also equipped with more tools at hand to provide the required support to Miguel. On Miguel's requests, Lila is quick to scan through the horde of information available and relay the necessary data to Spidey. From combat strategies to hacking systems, Lila is adept in all. She can even plug herself into networks worldwide and produce holograms. However, Lila was infected once with a virus which caused her to feel human emotions and act strangely. She tried to kill Miguel's fiancée Dana and sent security droids after him. Miguel was able to repair Lila and restore her back to her supporting form. Lila remains Miguel's loyal and trusted partner in his superhero adventures, constantly voicing her opinions whether Miguel agrees with her or not. Peter Parker lacks an AI support team. Peter is known to painstakingly find all the information himself and is, more often than not, a solo act. Spider-Man 2099 cannot stick to walls like Peter Parker can. Among Peter's arachnid superpowers is his ability to climb walls by sticking to them. When the spider bit Peter, it changed the functioning of his cerebellum, enabling him to manipulate the friction between particles. Using static electricity, Peter can cause a strong attraction between particles which give him the ability to stick to walls or other surfaces and climb them. Although there isn't a clearly defined reason for what caused this anomaly in him, we know that Peter's sticking ability is seen more in his hands and feet. However, on one occasion, Peter made his mask stick to his face, ensuring anti-venom couldn't take it off. Spider-Man 2099's genetic modification has not allowed him the power to control and direct these particles to stick to the walls. Hence, he cannot really scale walls the way Peter can. However, the 2099 Spidey makes good use of his sharp talons to ascend buildings whenever he needs to. Come to think of it, does Spider-Man 2099 really need the wall climbing ability? With his tech enabling him to fly and glide, it seems Miguel has little use for sticky fingers and toes. Yet we think it's cool to watch Peter in action with him sticking to the walls in that perfect Spider-Man pose and climbing them at super speed. Peter Parker doesn't have telepathic powers or night vision. Miguel's spider DNA gave him augmented acuity, increasing his sensory powers. He has enhanced vision, which allows him to see in the dark with the same amount of clarity as daytime. Moreover, he can see across long distances and almost as if his eyes were fitted with super zoom lenses. In some instances, he has possibly used infrared to read people's body heat, and Miguel can also detect energy waves. Miguel's vision is so superior that he can move at hyperspeed without his vision blurring, enabling him to pay attention to his surroundings regardless of his movement. Moreover, he can track objects that move too quickly for the average human to see. His heightened vision also acts as an early warning mechanism, which he uses to predict attacks from a further point, but it still isn't quite like the spider senses. Because of his super sensitive vision, Miguel was forced to wear sunglasses early on. Over the years, his eyes acclimatized to its complexities, but Spidey 2099 continued using his glasses. In addition to his supervision, Spider-Man 2099 is also a telepath. Now, the full extent of his telepathic abilities is yet to be explored by the makers, but for the time being, Miguel can comfortably communicate his thoughts using his abilities. It is also said that Spider-Man 2099 developed telepathic powers as a diversified manifestation of the spider sense. Peter has neither of these abilities, but then again, he is from a different world. Peter Parker is more innovative with his suit modifications. With all the tech looming around in 2099, one would expect Spider-Man 2099 to configure more gadgets that enhance his suit. Yet it's Peter Parker who keeps tinkering away, developing new tools and making innovative adjustments to his costume. Looks like Peter has some additional creative skills which Miguel clearly seemed to lack. In All New, All Different, Peter carved out a suit using liquid metal which he could control by giving it cognitive orders. The suit was called Spider Armor MK4 and could withstand heat, was damage resistant, and bulletproof. In the past, Peter has also developed spider bots, spider gliders, spider tracers, and other such devices. He even had a utility belt incorporated with a spider signal, and like Batman, Spidey used his signal to announce his arrival. One of Peter's commendable suits was the one he developed to repel Hobgoblin's sonic streams. Peter amalgamated Iron Man's and the original Ant-Man, Hank Pym's work to create a super suit that could resist light and sound. Moreover, the black suit gave him an almost invisible look, but Spidey was never subtle when it came to his costume, so he added a neon spider symbol across the front of his suit's torso and added the same glow to his eyepieces as well. And did you know that Spider-Man also had a Spider-Mobile? Although for a very short period the writer included a car for Spider-Man, the car was designed in Spidey's classic colors with abilities to shoot web and project the spider signal. Well, they obviously realized it was a bad idea for the web slinger to use a car and recalled it quickly. Miguel OHara doesn't have a spider sense. The spider sense is hands down one of Spider-Man's coolest superpowers, and while most others in the multiverse have spider sense, Miguel is deprived of it. Given that Miguel is equipped with so many other superpowers, he can hardly complain. Spider sense is like a precognitive danger sensing mechanism that allows Spidey to be warned of looming perils. A tingling sensation at the back of Spider-Man's skull is a sign of impending danger, which also activates his reflexes and makes him take swift action to deflect a threat. Although the spider sense cannot really detail the risk at hand, it makes Spidey aware that he needs to expect something and has only a split second to react. Additionally, the spider sense helps Peter detect hidden objects, weapons, or enemies, acting more like a directional guide. The most fascinating aspect of this ability is that it sends signals even when Spidey is fast asleep. Also, Spider-Man can suppress or override his spider sense. Can you think of why Spidey would choose to do such a thing? Spider-Man has relied largely on his spider sense when fighting his arch nemesis. Once, his super sense guided him through a phase where he was temporarily blind. Now, fans might think that Miguel's lack of spider sense is a significant drawback, but Miguel does have counterpowers like telepathy and supervision, which allows him to sense danger. But can you imagine how outstanding Miguel would be with a combination of the three? Spider-Man 2099 has more supreme organic webbing. When Spider-Man 2099 got his abilities, he noticed strange structures like spinnerets protruding from his wrists. Although confused at first at these terrible-looking skin developments, Miguel gradually learned what they did and how he could use them to his advantage. The spinnerets produced a sticky but strong elastic substance much like a web. The web chemically replicated the spider silk, which Miguel then started using to swing across the buildings and detain his enemies. Since they are originally produced, Miguel's webs are more likely to last longer in a fight. On the other hand, Peter Parker is known to use devices called web shooters. Web shooters are small band-like tools that Spider-Man wears around his wrist. It has a palm release button that Spidey presses to shoot the web. Peter also developed web fluid, which he filled in small cartridges and arranged them on the band of his wrist. As one cartridge is released, another one takes its place, and that's how Spidey can keep producing more webs. There are versions of Peter Parker which have organic webbing too, but most of them are known to use enhanced launchers for shooting webs. Not only that, but because these are artificially developed webs, they are supposedly more robust than the organic ones, but that is a debatable point for fans to discuss in the comments. Spider-Man 2099 has no specialized webbing. As we have established, Peter is an inventor, so it was only a matter of time before he started exploring the potential of the web fluid to design multi-purpose webs as opposed to Miguel's organic webbing. But then again, there is only so much invention one can apply to organically produced shoots. From projecting web balls to web nets to firing webs almost like a machine gun, Peter has fortified his web shooters for epic battles. He even balanced the base chemical for the web with other elements to produce cartridges that could shoot ice, cement, fire, acid, and even lead-like webs. We have also seen Spidey use a web that had electrocuting abilities, sending electric shocks across the adversaries' bodies. More interestingly, Peter designed a web shooter to follow his voice commands. All he had to do was shout out what sort of web he wanted, and the cartridge would be loaded as per his order. Peter can also mold or weave his webs to carve out shields, barriers, safety nets, parachutes, and more. Once he made discs for his feet, enabling him to walk on water. Peter's personalized webs also include magnetic webbings, taser webs, and sonic disrupting webs, among others. Spidey uses these tactfully to overcome his opponents to keep them from harming the city. But the most significant disadvantage is that Spider-Man can run out of webs at crucial moments. Although very rare, we have seen such instances in the comics. Peter Parker doesn't have the major weaknesses that trouble Miguel OHara. Ironically, some of Miguel's strengths also lead to some of his weaknesses. For instance, his heightened vision, as we discussed, has made his eyes ultra-sensitive, forcing him to shield his eyes behind sunglasses. His eyes have also developed a reddish tinge around him, which is also covered by the eyewear. Then there are the fangs. Unlike his talons, his fangs aren't retractable, which makes it difficult for Miguel to hide his vampire-like feature. Can you imagine having to talk with those canines protruding out? Clearly, this is a stint that Miguel finds challenging, which may not seem like a considerable weakness, but nonetheless it is one. Coming to the famous retractable talons, yes, Miguel can hide from them with great exertion. Miguel needs to use some mind power to concentrate hard to ensure that his claws don't just pop out when not required. The weakness here is that Miguel cannot really multitask because he needs to use some part of his cognition to constantly control the claws. Lack of focus among superheroes has rarely fared well for them. Miguel's spinnerets will be disabled if it gets blocked for some reason, or if someone grips his hands or binds the spinnerets tightly. And since he uses organic webs, a blockage would mean Spider-Man 2099 cannot use one of his crucial powers. Of course, one can always argue that Peter Parker's web shooters can malfunction too, and yes, that's entirely possible, yet Peter does not have the other weaknesses that grip Miguel in 2099. So there we have it, Spider-Man 2099 versus Spider-Man from Earth 616. They both have common abilities like super strength, high speed, fantastic agility, super reflexes, and so on, but there is clearly a long list of powers that are distinct to each version. Who do you think will emerge the winner if Peter and Miguel were to battle it out? Let us know which Spidey you will support and why in the comments down below. If you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.